One of the oldest secret societies in the entire world has infiltrated everyday American life. The Freemasons that protect our country's secrets have left their legacy everywhere. My name is Brianna Wallace, and I'm here to inform you all how the Freemason symbols are everywhere and people don't even realize it. Their symbols are on our currency in the Olympics and even in our nation's capital. Some history about Freemasonry. It's one of the oldest secret societies in the entire world, and according to the Masonic Service Association, no one knows with certainty how or when the Masonic fraternity was formed. A widely accepted theory among Masonic scholars is that it arose from the stonemasons guilds during the Middle Ages. And the reasons why no one knows exactly how or when it was formed is because in the 1700s, all of their text and their history, all their secrets completely disappeared. Masonic scholars think that they were stolen, they're hidden somewhere in the world. There's 33 degrees of Masonry, so each degree you work towards, it's for personal development, you gain more knowledge and more trust into the society. I had the opportunity to interview a 32nd degree Mason. He's over 80 years old, it took him a really long time to earn those degrees. And there are many symbols that define the Masonic Brotherhood. One symbol is the square. It's the square or ruler. It means to square your actions and to square your virtue. And another is the compass, which is an architect's tool. The ruler and the compass together are gilders' tools, stonemasons' tools. And this is the symbol you will see everywhere that defines the Masons. Another symbol that represents that culture is the all-seeing eye. It means you're never out of sight of the supreme architect. Someone's always down watching, looking down upon you and watching you. There's always light coming out of the eye. It's the eye that sees all. Another is the obelisk. Even though the Masons did not invent the obelisk, the Egyptians did, because they believe the sun god Ra dwelt in there. It represents their culture because it points towards the supreme being. And it's a four-sided square with a pyramid on top, and it's always pointing up towards the supreme being and the grand architect. Another is the pentagram. The Masons also did not make this symbol, but it is everywhere. You Google them, you Google their pictures, the pentagram is all over them. Because it's a 5-pointed star. 4 of the points represent the 4 different elements, with the 5th top point representing the supreme being, which they believe in. So now that you know some of the symbols, I'm here to show you how they're everywhere and you don't even know it. One is that the all-seeing eye is on the dollar bill, and as you can see, this is the all-seeing eye with the light coming out of it. Now, what's really interesting about this is Mason is also seen on the dollar, M-A-S-O-N. And Benjamin Franklin designed that, and Benjamin Franklin was on the design committee for the $1 bill, and he was a Mason. The Olympic mascots. Now this one was a little far-fetched, and I didn't even want to put it into the PowerPoint until I spoke with Theodore Smith, who was a 32nd degree Mason. The Masonic Lodge in London is the most structured, the head of all Masonic lodges. And they were saying how the mascots have one eye, but what was really interesting to me was that Theodore Smith told me that the Masonic Lodge of London funded the lights to the Olympic Stadium. These are the Olympic lights. Now, they look exactly like the pyramid on the dollar bill, and he had mentioned something about that. There's a lot of things like he couldn't tell me, but it's the same as the dollar, the pyramid with the light right on top of it. And it's funny how out of all the things they could have funded for the Olympics, they funded the stadium lights. Another thing is the Washington Monument that was built to commemorate George Washington, who was our first president. He was also a Mason. It's an obelisk, a Masonic symbol. 33 of its stones were donated by Masonic lodges all over the world. This is what Theodore Smith told me. Theodore Smith also told me that those stones were laid starting at 330 feet, and also that the capstone to the Washington Monument weighs 3,300 pounds. The number 33 degrees of Masonry. Finally, this is something interesting to leave you with, is that the architect of Washington, D.C., whose name is Pierre Charles Leofonte, he was a Mason. He designed the streets, he designed everything, the architecture of the streets, the grid of Washington, D.C. Here I'm going to show you, he designed the 5-point pentagram in Washington, D.C. 4 of the points represent the circles that you drive your car around, with the 5th point representing the White House. Another thing, this symbol, if you recognized it earlier, was the square with the compass. That is the Masonic symbol. The Capitol building, one of the most important buildings in Washington, D.C., represents the circle at the top of the compass. with this street going straight towards the White House and this street going straight towards the Jefferson Memorial. These two streets pointing towards the obelisk, which is Washington, D.C. And I mean, Masonic scholars go crazy over this because they realized it very early on, and they went crazy over it when they realized that the person who built the grid of Washington, D.C. was a Mason. So now that you've seen some of the Freemason symbols have infiltrated our society, will you ever look at the dollar bill the same again, or some of the symbols? I mean, I can go on about this for hours, but I just wanted to show you some things, and I only have a short amount of time, but Freemasonry is also a culture that will withstand time. It's been around for hundreds and hundreds of years and will continue for the rest, and it's everywhere and people don't even realize it.